I've been meaning to talk about the NHL MVP, otherwise known as the Hart Trophy in the National Hockey League, because I've found that this is honestly one of the more interesting markets going across all sports because I don't know if anybody knows what's going to happen. We all have our best guesses, but like everyone that I talk to that looks at these things, everyone that I talk to that like watches hockey, it feels like there's so many different opinions, which I think makes for a fun betting market. It's not fun when it's the NBA MVP and SGA is like minus 5,000 because we all know SGA is going to win the MVP in the NBA, but there's 8 games left in the regular season. You have a dead heat damn near of a coin flip price between Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. He's at minus 105. And then Connor Hellebuyck, the goalie for the Winnipeg Jets, he's at even money. Like you rarely get that in the major sports for a major award. Nathan McKinnon, 7-1. Nikita Kucherov, 25-1. Those are your 4 guys who can win this award, which is what's interesting about this is that not only is it wide open amongst these 4 guys, I think you can make the case for all 4 of them winning the trophy given what we've seen over the last like 25, 30 days or so. I'll start off with the favorite, Leon Draisaitl, right now, who came back from injury and had a stellar performance over the weekend, scored the game-tying goal, scored the game-winning goal in overtime Saturday night to where his price is now odds-on to win the Hart Trophy. But my thing with Draisaitl and what's been tricky with him is that he's gotten very little support from people who cover hockey. Like it feels like Draisaitl is just seen as like an afterthought because I think we can all agree, like consensus opinion, Leon Draisaitl is not the best player on his team. Like it's Connor McDavid. McDavid is the best player in the sport. He's the best player on the Oilers. Now, that has not stopped Draisaitl from winning the Hart Trophy in years past. He did win this award a handful of years ago, and statistically this season, he's like clearly the best skater that we have in the NHL. When you look at like goals created and like he's up there with points, like he's a little bit behind Kucherov and McKinnon because of the injuries that he had. But like Draisaitl has been a stud this season. He has 51 goals, clearly leads all goal scorers in the league. But the whole like he's doing it with McDavid thing seems to be what's holding people up from crowning Leon Draisaitl as your clear front runner from winning this award. Now, the interesting part of Draisaitl's case is that Connor McDavid is currently injured. And McDavid has missed the last 3 games for the Edmonton Oilers. And their coach, Chris Knobloch, told reporters, I believe it was earlier this morning, that McDavid's probably going to miss the next game or 2, but they do expect McDavid to return before the end of the regular season. So there's now a little bit of momentum for Leon Draisaitl to potentially produce and lead the Edmonton Oilers without Connor McDavid. So I think that's a really interesting point for Leon Draisaitl, who currently is seen as like the second best guy on his team, which is correct. But if McDavid, who's had a down year, like you ask any hockey fan, McDavid has not had a classic McDavid season. He's been injured multiple times. Like you can see a narrative start to build that Leon Draisaitl was the guy to keep Edmonton afloat and lead them into the playoffs despite not being the best player on his team. So that's the Draisaitl portion of this. The Connor Hellebuyck one, I think, is really, really fascinating because we have yet to see a goalie win the Hart Trophy since Carey Price did it back in 2014-15. Now, Hellebuyck's case is rather simple. I think Hellebuyck needs to continue to ball out, which means not allow goals, and I think the Winnipeg Jets need to win the President's Trophy. So currently, Connor Hellebuyck right now is at about 2.02 goals against average, and I think for a goalie to win the Hart Trophy, they probably need to be below 2. Like, that's what Carey Price was back when he won. I think he was like at 1.98 or something like that. Just a ridiculous mark for a season for a goalie. But Hellebuyck right now, if he can get under that 2.0 threshold, he currently, like, think about this. Hellebuyck currently leads the NHL goalies in wins, in goals against average, in save percentage, and in shutouts. Like, and he also leads in like goalie point shares and like all these other like advanced like nerdy stats as well. But in like the core 4 stats that most traditional hockey fans follow, he is first in all of them. Like that is like not only just like a Vezina winner, that's a potential Hart Trophy winner. And with his performance, in addition to how his team is performing, Winnipeg over the weekend took over control of the President's Trophy race because they have won 3 straight games and the Washington Capitals have lost 3 straight games. So Winnipeg currently is in the driver's seat to win the President's Trophy. They're about minus 150 over at BetMGM. I think Hellebuyck needs to lead them to winning the President's Trophy. And then I also believe if he can get under that 2.0 goals against average, I think he has a legitimate chance to win the Hart Trophy. Right now, I would say that Draisaitl should still be your favorite. But if Hellebuyck does those things, the fact that Draisaitl is a guy that not too many people are super excited about voting for, and he's won the award before, I could see voters like kind of gravitating towards, you know what, Connor Hellebuyck and the Winnipeg Jets are actually the story of the season. Let's do that. Now, the thing that's holding up Hellebuyck is that there are some voters out there who are just like never going to want to vote for a goalie. Like, there's like, you know what? Goalies have their own award. It's the Vezina Trophy. I will only vote for a skater. I'm not even going to have Hellebuyck on my ballot. There are definitely people that believe that. But I think that there could be enough people that get behind him if he's able to statistically perform and the team is also able to get the President's Trophy at the end of the season. Nathan MacKinnon, he's 7-1. His is interesting because like MacKinnon won the award last year. We haven't had a back-to-back winner since Ovechkin did it 2008, 2009. So typically voter fatigue is a big deal when you think about the Hart Trophy. But MacKinnon apparently is beloved. Like people love Nathan MacKinnon. And I said, like, the best skater this year has been Leon Draisaitl. The second best skater has probably been Nikita Kucherov. Like, MacKinnon has not even been, like, top two in terms of the skaters. But recently, about 30 days ago, we got a decent amount of polling, like publications like NHL.com, they did their trophy tracker. We saw ESPN, Greg Wyshynski, he does his poll where he talks to a lot of voters. And Nathan MacKinnon was leading in the Hart Trophy in both of those. So there is clearly sentiment to give Nathan MacKinnon another Hart Trophy. It just seems like it would be weird that they did it this year, given the fact that we have not seen a guy go back-to-back since Ovechkin did it. And then also, he's just not the best. like this was just giving a guy an award just because we like him the most. Like, Colorado doesn't have like the crazy team success, and he doesn't have the crazy individual success. And the price is starting to drift, which I agree with. But at some point, maybe MacKinnon becomes valuable because all the people who are voting or are voter adjacent, they're saying, yeah, I think it's MacKinnon, even though nothing backs that up. So that's one to keep our eyes on, keep our ears open for over the next couple of weeks before the regular season ends. Then finally, Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, he has sparked this great run by Tampa Bay recently. Tampa is on fire with how they've been playing. Like, the Bolts have been really, really good. And statistically, like I just mentioned, he has passed Nathan MacKinnon. Now, he's still behind Draisaitl, but he has passed Nathan MacKinnon. The thing with Kucherov that's a little bit tricky, because I've been talking to people about this over the weekend, I continue to just look at his stats and look at his price and say, like, there must be a bet here. The problem with Kucherov is that I don't live in these streets with like the hockey world, so I don't know who's beloved and who's hated. Sounds like he's not the most popular guy. I'll put it that way. Like Kucherov, like, it doesn't seem like the media loves him really. Maybe he's a little bit snarkly. I've never heard him speak, to be quite honest. I've watched him play, but I've never heard him do like an interview. I've never heard a podcast, but apparently people don't like him. He's not the most popular player. And in what is a popularity contest, that stuff matters. So I would be a little bit kind of cautious of betting Kucherov, even though statistically he would make more sense as a winner than someone like Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. So I say all of that to say this, like, if you ask me right now, who do I think is going to win the Hart Trophy? It might be a boring answer, but I do think that eventually voters might come around to Leon Draisaitl based on the fact that he has a couple of more games to put out big-time stats without Connor McDavid. If he can do that over this next week, I think that Draisaitl can kind of sort of rid himself of the, oh, he only benefits from being with McDavid kind of narrative that is out there for Leon Draisaitl. But if Hellebuyck and the Jets do their thing and get the President's Trophy and Hellebuyck is under 2 goals against average, that's when I think a Hellebuyck could win it. So even though it's wide open and there's 4 guys that could potentially win it, I do think it will be either Draisaitl or Hellebuyck. And right now, my best guess is that Draisaitl, even though he has not gotten a lot of support from the media, I think they could eventually get there with him being clearly the best skater in the NHL. So if I had no money in this market, I would actually be betting Leon Draisaitl right now at -105.